Welcome to Dare to Be Conscious, the podcast that helps you shift, grow, and transform anything in your life with ease. I'm Ruby Pichel, your host. Here we explore conscious choices, spiritual growth, and practical tools to help you live fully awake, aligned, and empowered. Every episode, I share insights, stories, and strategies that support you in stepping into your power and living the life you truly desire. So, whether you're making big decisions, expanding your consciousness, or simply want to live more intentionally, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome to another podcast episode, Dare to Be Conscious. Today, the topic is going to be archangels and how I started working with archangels. Now, what I would want to talk about are just a few things today, because working with archangels is not always what you think it looks like. Many times people think when you talk about archangels that you would probably see them. And sometimes you can, but many times you don't. And then how does this appear? What does this look like? And what happened for me, it doesn't mean that it should happen for you the same way, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and they've had a similar experience with working with archangels. So let me go back to a story many, many years ago. And this happened when I decided to take on Access Bars classes. If you don't know Access Bars, it's an energetic session created by Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas and Dane here. And I just started out and I had my first bars class and I started taking in clients. And then I had my first paid client. And before I had her on the table, we just had a conversations and we just did a few clearings. Then I had her on my table and I was just running her bars. We were not talking. I wasn't talking. She wasn't talking. She was just relaxing and receiving the bar session. And I was just looking around the room. And what happened suddenly was that I saw this creature appear. It was kind of like a big bird just landing right beside my table. And it was holding a kind of vase. And I don't know how I knew, but it had some kind of liquid in it. And the creature was looking at me, asking if I would give it permission to pour out this, what looked like liquid gold. And it was looking at me for approval. And all I could say out of my intuition was, yes, I approve. And so he started pouring out this liquid gold over her body. It was so gentle, it was soft, it was lovingly. And as he started doing that, she started like grasping for air. Like she was just laying there calmly and just receiving the bars. And then suddenly, when the liquid gold was poured out over her, she took a breath like, and I was like, oh my God, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. I just felt a shiver and I'm good. I'm fine. And she fell back into this relaxation and she received it and it was good. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, good. I need to move forward with these bar sessions, like whatever this is, I'm doing this. Fast forward, I don't know, a year and a half. I don't know the exact timing. It was a moment when I was working a lot on myself, and I was in this relationship, which was not a really healthy relationship. It was a pretty toxic relationship, and it was difficult to get out of it. And I heard somebody talking about breaking energetic cords. And I had actually never heard about that. So I started doing some research, and she introduced me to this lady who has experience with breaking energetic cords. And I scheduled an appointment with her to talk about this. And so I went to this lady. We had a nice conversation, and she laid me down on her table, and we started looking into the energetic cords that I needed to break. And yes, I needed to break an energetic cord with that person that I was in a relationship with, and I needed to break another cord, and that was with my mother. So, any of you who know about this is quite regular. But it was my first time of breaking energetic cords for myself. And what I experienced when we were breaking the first one with the person that I was in a relationship with, the moment I cut that cord, it was like the ground that was underneath me, right underneath my feet, it was like this hatch that just went open. And it had this vacuum, and I was gonna be sucked into it. But right before that was supposed to happen, like right before I got sucked into it, I was grabbed. It just felt like somebody put his wings around me, and it was just grabbing me like this. And it allowed that sucking hole to just kind of do its job. And I wasn't pulled in. I was just held safely by this, what you could call a guardian or a protector or whatever. It was somebody who was just holding me until the sense of the vacuum stopped, the hole closed, and it was done, and the cord was cut. And then I cut another cord with my mother, which was, again, a liberating session and really beautiful or insightful. And that was it. And another time I cut another cord with my daughter, but that's a different story. So back to working with archangels. I did not know who that was at that time. I didn't know it was an angel. I didn't even think about an angel. All I knew was I was cutting a cord, and there was this hole I was going to be sucked into, and I was held by something that prevented me from being sucked into that hole. And because I was already doing access consciousness for a while, I thought to myself, like, wait a second, I can always tap into whatever it is, even if it's another moment in time, because I think it was a period of like 3 to 4 weeks, and I was still thinking about it. And I was like, oh, who was that one who was holding me? And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna look into this. So I got home, and I was sitting down, and I was like, I'm just going to ask the question, right? Makes sense. So I started sitting down. I closed my eyes, and I asked the question, would the being that was there with me that day during the cord cutting, would you be willing to reveal yourself to me? And I asked, what's your name? I'd like to know who you are. And then in a split second, I heard the name Michael. And all I could think was, okay, okay, Michael. Doesn't ring a bell. It didn't really. I did not know the archangels. I did not read about the archangels. I knew nothing about the archangels. I just heard Michael, and I was telling a friend, and I was telling a friend about what I did, and that I asked this being who it was, and he said Michael. She didn't know anything about it, and we were just like, okay, that's interesting. So his name is Michael. All right. Fast forward 4 weeks. I don't know, I was in a session with Lori Ladd, and I've been on her platform for a while. So we were just in a session. I don't know what she was doing or what she was talking about. She does different things, Q&As, channel sessions, meditations, etc. And it came up, cord cutting came up, and suddenly she said, you know who is actually really willing to help with cord cutting? Like if you have to do some cord cutting, Archangel Michael really loves to help with cord cutting. And my response to that, it was jaw dropping. I was like, ah, Archangel Michael? Are you telling me that during this session, I didn't know what was happening? Suddenly, Archangel Michael was there. I didn't even invite him. I didn't even know who he was. He was just there, holding me, preventing me from being sucked into that hole. And then I asked him, who are you? And he's like, Michael. He didn't say, that's the funny thing, right? He did not say, I am Archangel Michael. No, that's not how they talk. He's like, Michael, you're asking for my name. It's Michael. And then when I was in that session with Lori Ladd, and she was just explaining, just randomly, she's like, you know who loves helping with cutting cords? Archangel Michael. Whenever you do that, invite him in. He loves that. And I was like, oh my God. And that's when I realized there was no doubt in my mind that this was Archangel Michael helping me cutting that cord. I could feel him. I knew I was being protected. I knew he was preventing me from being sucked into that hole. And I didn't even ask for it. So that was Archangel Michael, my first encounter with him. I've had many more encounters with him, but this is how I found out about him. And then later on, I was doing a session with my niece. My brother, her father had just died, and we were meditating, and I was helping her just dealing with the pain, and we were in a session, and I could just sense a being coming near me, wanting to assist, wanting to release something from her, wanting to take something off her shoulder. This is my access conscious way. I'm not telling her what is happening, but I'm asking her to become aware of what it is that she perceives. So I asked her, would you be willing to receive help with taking this block off your shoulder? And she agreed. She's like, yeah, I'll be willing to receive some help. And I said, well, there's a being here wanting to assist you in that. Would you ask him his name before you give permission? So she asked his name, and she was like with a real question mark. She's like, Gabriel? Like, do I hear Gabriel? And I was like, I heard that too. I heard Gabriel, but I wasn't sure. So giving her the awareness, letting her know, like, hey, I perceive something. What do you perceive? And she was hesitating. She's like, I hear the name Gabriel. I was like, I hear that too. Like he wants to help you and take this away from you, take this chip off your shoulder. And she allowed him to do that. And within a few seconds, she said, okay, he's done. He's like, here you go. I'm done. And that was the encounter. First conscious encounter with Archangel Gabriel. I have a few more, but there's one more that I'd like to share with you, which is my encounter with Archangel Raphael. And Archangel Raphael came to me. I was in a session with a client, and I had been working with Michael and Gabriel for a while now. Like, it was easy for me to know when they were coming in. It was easy for me to invite them. It was easy for me to recognize when they were coming in by themselves. Like, they always ask for permission to assist, but they'll just be there. But this time, I perceived three angels. And Michael and Gabriel were there for my client. And I could tell that the other angel was there for me. He was just standing right beside me. And I asked him what he needed or what he wanted to contribute. And he said, I would like to work with you. So, as I've been working with Michael and Gabriel for a while, it was quite normal to me. And I was like, okay, cool. Thank you, Raphael. I'd like to work with you too. So that was it. We kind of just stopped engaging. Um, and I didn't know Raphael that well. So this time I did Google it. I was like, who's Raphael? And I started Googling Archangel Raphael, and it told me that Raphael is the medical angel. He is the angel that heals. Raphael means God heals. I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. I mean, I'd love to have a medical angel working with me. So another week went by, and in that week, I think this session was on a Wednesday or a Thursday, maybe. But in that week on a Monday, something happened in the family. One of my brothers died. It was a Monday evening, my brother died. And the Tuesday morning, my sister went to the hospital, and I went with her, and she found out that she had cancer, severe lung cancer. Yeah, it was a heavy week, I know. So it was that week, like it was only Tuesday, mind you. And nothing really dropped in with me. And so on Tuesday, I took my sister to the hospital. She found out that she had cancer, and we had to go and set up all these appointments in the hospital with her. And so on Thursday, the next appointment was scheduled, and I was going to take her to the hospital again. And that Thursday morning, I was sitting on my sofa before picking her up, and I was just sitting there. And Archangel Raphael came in, and he said to me, do you remember what I told you last week? I was like, yeah, I do. He's like, okay, what did I say? I'm like, I remember you want to work with me. I heard you. And he's like, yeah, for this. Like, really, how stupid can we be sometimes? I mean, as humans, we can be so slow. And he's like, I want to work with you for this. You're going to the hospital with your sister with lung cancer. I want to work with you. I want to help you. And I was like, oh, all right. Oh, ah, right. Raphael, God heals, the medical angel that wants to work with me in healing my sister who just found out she had lung cancer. All right. Like, seriously. And I just, I don't even know what I felt. I started texting my sister, like basically letting her know what happened. Just simply this story. Archangel Raphael came to me and he told me he wanted to work with me. But that message did not really arrive. So I picked her up. We went to the hospital and I asked her while we were in the waiting room, I said, "Did you read my message?" And she's like, "Yeah, I did, but I didn't get it." I was like, "Read it again." So she read the message. It was something along the lines of, like I just told you, like, I got a visit from an archangel wanting to work with me, and his name is Raphael, and he's the healing angel, and he wants me to work with him and help you heal. And she's like, "Really? An angel came in wanting to heal me?" She's like, "Really?" And she started crying. She's like, "Did an angel really come in telling you that he wants to heal me?" I was like, "Yeah, that's what he did." So we went through these appointments and we started talking about this. And one of the next appointments that she had was doing a PET-CT scan. And that's quite scary, right? You got to go through this PET scan, which is a tunnel. You get all these fluids in your body. And she's afraid of needles. So this whole exercise is quite scary and it's quite intimidating. And I had to leave her. And I said, "Remember what I said about Raphael." And I didn't just teach her to invite Raphael in. I told her to invite Raphael and Jesus, both of them, to be close to her. And basically, that's what she did. She remembered. She's like, I only had to say, like, remember Raphael. And she's like, okay, I'll remember, I'll remember. And so I had to leave her for like an hour and a half, and I was sitting in a waiting room to pick her up after that hour and a half. And she came out and she was so cheerful. She was so at ease. And I was like, "How did it go?" And she's like, "It went fine." It's like, "Oh, weren't you nervous?" She's like, "No, not really. I did what you said I had to do. I invited Raphael and I invited Jesus, and it was fine. Do you want to go for lunch?" I was like, "Sure, let's have some lunch." And this is how he or they helped her going through this. And 3 months later, she was cleared. She was healthy. The cancer disappeared. I just wanted to share these stories. I mean, I have another story of Camuel, but I have to finish this because I have something else that I need to do, and I don't want to make this podcast too long. I just wanted to share these archangel stories with you and how it can appear if you are only open and willing to receive it. And you don't have to be experienced. You don't have to know how it all works. You just have to be open and willing. You have to be willing to open your awareness, to be conscious about what energies you perceive, and to actually trust your awareness, to trust what you hear, to trust what you perceive. Some things are just unavoidable. There's a point where you cannot avoid what you perceive. Like what happened to me with Michael, where I was actually doing the cord cutting session and something was going to suck me into a hole, and he just grabbed me. He just grabbed me. I was like, who's holding me? And then not thinking about the whole concept of me being able to ask who this is. I was just living my life for another month or so, wondering like, who was that? Who was that was holding me? And then because of access consciousness, I was like, oh, I could just go ahead and ask. Why don't I just do that? And then simply sitting down, and at that moment he just arrived. This didn't take an hour. Like, this barely even took minutes. I sat down, I opened up, I asked the question, would you reveal yourself to me? Will you tell me your name? And instantly I heard the name Michael, not knowing who it was. And then 4 weeks later, learning in a session with somebody else that it's Archangel Michael, who loves helping with cutting cords. That is no coincidence. This does not happen by accident. This is real. Archangels are real. And I'm very happy about that. And it's exciting. And it's exciting to work with archangels. They are here to serve us. They are here to support us. And they are amazing. And they are funny at times. That also makes it fun to work with them. So I hope this gives you some insights. I hope this gives you an idea of how it could work with archangels. Maybe it gives you a little bit of confidence in knowing that you can do this too. Like with this experience I had with my niece, she had no experience with archangels. She just heard him. I had no experience with archangels. I mean, I have now, but I didn't back then. I didn't know. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. And if you want to know more, reach out to me. I have an Instagram, I have a Facebook, Ruby Pichel. Just find me on social media. It's easy. There's only one Ruby Pichel, so it's easy to look me up. And thank you for listening. I hope it was a contribution. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to Dare to Be Conscious. Remember, the life and energy you want start with the choices you make every day. The more you choose consciously, the more that energy shows up for you. You attract what you choose to be, so choose wisely. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you left a 5-star review or shared it with someone who could benefit. Subscribe to stay updated on new episodes and connect with me on social media. The links are in the show notes. Thank you for showing up, for stepping into your power, and for being willing to live consciously. You matter, and I love you.